Here's Cindy, Mark.
That's Cindy is
Awesome.
someone I'm familiar with.
Our very first joiner. Okay, we got a few people joining me. Perfect timing, Edie. Hello, everybody. We're kind of giving you a couple of minutes for people to join. And oh, did you do that? Or
I did. I did.
did you invite Cindy over? Okay.
I allowed her to unmute. Cindy, we're playing around with the webinar settings, so
Okay.
I'm not
Sorry,
forcing
I needed to
you to.
shut my, I don't even see my, do you see me?
No,
No, we don't. We hear you. I don't think we'll see you,
How
but
do you not, should you see me? 'Cause
I don't
see-
think it's pulling
Oh,
video.
okay, so it's just voice.
It's
I think-
allowing you to talk during a webinar. There's a setting when we're doing a webinar that, participants or attendee, we can give them the ability to unmute themselves. So that's if you want to talk about. So thank you, Shade. You found that. I see here a way to do that now.
So we've got a couple people on, Cindy. I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but I know you had a question, so I just wanted you to have the ability to ask if you'd like up front.
Sure, sure. It might be hard to, without kind of showing maybe in a way my screen, but so Sade, as you know, you've been working with us. So I just happened to notice it the other day. We use Domo, and we use Domo to capture our leads and our open cases and our active cases. And so I happened to be doing something because I was started something new for January. And I noticed in our Domo reports, which pulls our Filevine intake status, which is in Filevine in our intake section, it's accepted, referred out, or rejected. Those are the only three that we have. And I happen to notice in Domo, all of a sudden I see something said that's saying signed up. And I was like, where is this coming from? So I talked to Lynn about it. And she said, yeah, that's the option that I have on the lead docket side. And I guess it's kind of like in the back end, or you don't really see it on the Filevine side, but it's kind of messing up my Domo reports because technically it's not, because we do things so different, I think, than other people, because we're kind of doing things backwards. We're going, no matter what, we open a lead in Lead Docket and we send it to Filevine, regardless of whether it's opened or investigated or rejected. And that's because we don't want to kind of, historically, we've been tracking our data for years and years and years, and we don't want to lose that historical data. So now this signed up is kind of messing my reports up because on one hand, it sounds like it's an accepted lead, but it's not, because once it makes its way from Lead Docket to Filevine, in my view, it's pending, right? Because it's either pending or rejected, because our process, and again, I know that this is very specific to our firm, but our process is get it into Filevine, get it into the intake section, make a decision. You either mark it, the intake status in Filevine, as accepted, rejected, or referred out. So it's kind of like, now that it's coming over on my Domo reports, it's messing me up a little bit. So I don't know the best way. Like at first I said, oh, we should change signed up to say accepted, but then that's not accurate. Then I said, maybe we should change it to say pending, but the problem is it's still coming over into Domo as two separate pendings, because in Filevine, if you don't answer the intake status, accepted or rejected or referred, it shows in Domo as a blank, and we convert blanks to pending. I know this is a mouthful.
No, you're fine. So I actually know exactly where to start. So the first thing to think about here is that you are getting your Domo reporting from Filevine. So you have set out which fields are going to push into those reports from the Filevine side. So as of right now, you guys do not have Lead Docket directly connected to Domo, correct? It's just your Filevine.
Correct. That is correct.
So the only way for signed up to be getting into that Domo report means that we are, just like you assumed, we're passing that information through to somewhere where you're pulling that information into Domo. So what we would need to look at is see where are we mapping that signed up value, because it shouldn't be in that dropdown, because like you said, it's only accepted, referred, or rejected.
Right.
So that dropdown can never say signed up. So what we really need to identify here is which field is pushing signed up from Filevine into your Domo. So we may not need to really change the word signed up from lead docket. so
You don't
much-
even see it on the Filevine side. It's like a hidden, like you don't see it at all, which makes it so much even so strange,
makes
so
it-
much stranger because it's like not there. Like we were able to report off of it,
Mhm.
but by saying in Filevine, show us everything not accepted or referred out or rejected. That was the only way we can get the signed up to appear in a report in Filevine because we don't see it anywhere.
So it does appear, like you're able to find it in a report in
In a
Filevine.
report by only saying, don't give me the other 3 drop downs that are visible in intake status.
Does it show, is it the same field? Or does it show?
Yes, it appears to come, like, if you report off of intake status in Filevine, you don't see it, but it comes up, like I said, our Domo report is looking to that intake status to populate the lead statuses. So it's like a hidden option from Filevine.
Lynn, sorry, I know Lynn's on too. Lynn or Cindy, can one of you guys, because I mentioned, we have privacy policies in place, so I don't have access to your lead docket at this moment. Would one of you guys be able to check something for me in the mapping? So underneath the pending Filevine
In
tab,
Filevine or in lead docket?
in lead docket.
Oh, that's you, Lynn. Cause I got booted out of lead docket because somebody else needed my license. Lynn, are you, is Lynn's
Yeah.
on? Because I can't tell that she's
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, I gave her permission to speak, but just
It's
if
all
she
clean.
raise
We
her
can
hand,
hear
go
you now.
Oh, you can hear me? Okay. Yes,
Yes.
go ahead, Shadi. How are you?
Good. Yes, so are you already in lead docket right now?
I am.
Okay, so on the left-hand panel, can you click on pending Filevine?
Here, I'm gonna walk them
Yep.
through.
Oh yeah, Ivan will share his screen. That works too. I don't know why I didn't think about that.
We're gonna go here.
And
Yep.
then Filevine mapping, perfect. And then can you go ahead and type in that filter status? I'm looking,
We're just in the lead field itself. Okay,
Oh,
status.
right in this filter, yeah, here.
and then do you see, is there anything mapped from that status field into a Filevine custom selector?
Filevine custom. Yeah, there's 4 of them.
Ooh.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, there's 5 of them.
Okay, so
That's a good
status
clue.
is mapping into that field. It's interesting that it's retaining that value though, because that's not an accepted value in Filevine.
So that's a good clue though, because so Lynn, when you look at this report, what you got there, this Filevine custom selector is gonna tell you where this is mapping to.
Yep.
Can you confirm that is this the same field that Cindy was talking about? Are you pushing
Well,
to the same
there's-
field?
There's an intake status.
Is
as
that the
far-
one that you're reporting in Domo?
Is
Yeah,
that I don't know what
think-
you're reporting.
I think it is. I think from memory.
There's
No,
actually
you mean is that the field?
Yeah, the exact
here-
field.
Should I hear this might be the issue? It looks like there's double in here. It says one of them for lead docket field, it says lead status, parenthesis, drop down list, standard field, parenthesis, and the one right below it says lead status, parenthesis, drop down list, standard field, parenthesis. It's the same exact wording, 2 in a
So-
row. And then it customized the Filevine custom selector says the first one is initial intake dot intake status. And then the one below it says intake dot intake status.
So intake dot intake status is the one that is the actual field in Filevine.
Okay, so this initial intake dot intake status, that one should be removed, maybe?
So sorry guys, I just want to jump in here. So those are actually, it's the same value. It's not that that's a duplicate. It's because
Oh.
we're pushing that value into your intake and into another section, which in your case is
So
your
client interview,
Got
probably.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think what we might have to do, guys, because I don't want you guys to be sharing any sensitive information, just because this is a public channel. Are you guys comfortable if we take this one offline and I'll get access to your lead docket, and then I can take a deeper dive into Filevine and lead docket and see if I can see why that's going through.
we appreciate
Sure.
that. Thank you very much.
Of course, sorry, guys. I wish we could have knocked it out on the call, but
Yeah.
I didn't want to put you guys in a spot where you have to show too much.
Appreciate that too.
That's okay.
Perfect. So we'll do that. I think for now, for everybody else who is in the in the webinar, I mean, this is
Sorry,
what
we bored everybody else.
Yeah.
no. This is what this is supposed to do, by the way, right? So I think the idea is that we get into the weeds and kind of solve, people's problems. So everybody else, we even have a question here, maybe that's related to or not, but so we'll come back to you guys, Cindy and Lynn. We can remove them from the participants here so you guys can be muted.
And
Okay.
Derek actually offered some information about the way that the fields map and retain information that will probably help us. So thank you, Derek. That's helpful to note. So I will take that information and then yes, connect with Cindy, you and Lynn offline. And we'll touch
Okay.
base.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you very
let's
much.
just mention this, Derek. Thank you for mentioning that. We'll mention this to everybody because not everybody can see his question. Can you guys see Derek's questions? I don't know if you can.
I think they
No.
can only see them once they're answered.
Oh, okay. Well, we're answered live. So what Derek is saying is that a Filevine report can contain the output of a field that no longer exists as an option. So if that existed at some point, that could be in there. Now we got to test a couple of different things. If you remove that option at some point, it should turn it into a blank, but we'll see.
Yeah, we never had that as an option though.
Ultimately, what I think we'll do here, because you said in your reporting in Domo, you have it set that blanks equals pending, correct?
Correct.
So we'll probably just need to remove the map altogether, really, because pretty much everybody who goes into your Filevine is going to be pending or rejected.
Right.
Well, so we need to send the rejected. We'll connect offline.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna hang up and let everybody else speak. Thank you.
All right, thank you
Bye.
guys. Really appreciate it.
Okay, thanks.
Awesome. So we'll
Before you go into today's topic, Ivan, that's a perfect example of what we actually love to see on these calls. So anybody has the ability to let us unmute you. You just have to raise your hand or let us know and we can unmute you. We can try to work through something. And if we have to connect offline, we will. So
that's true. Shade, I know you gotta go. So we'll let you go. Thank you for staying a few minutes here to help Lynn, and that's awesome. Thank you for that.
Of course,
But
I-
we'll take you from here. Thank you, Shade. Awesome. All right, then what we will do is we'll continue here. Appreciate the kind of the engagement there from everybody. Again, I second that. Bring your questions here if you're happy, if you want to talk, and we'll share the mic here and let you guys talk. We want to do today what we had. Oh, Jennifer. Yes, Jennifer raised her hand. Do you want to? I'm gonna give you the ability to talk, Jennifer. Let me see. How do I do that? Click on Jennifer. Allow to talk.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hey, so we are pretty new to Lead Docket, but
Okay.
we have some automations in Filevine, and we are a personal injury firm that does some asbestos cases. And so when we open an asbestos case, sometimes it spans to a different case type. And so one of the people who's very integral in, building out Filevine created an automation in our intake tab where when we go to open an asbestos case, there's a button that I can click that says, yes, I want to open an asbestos workers comp intake. And so what it does is it creates a brand new intake in Filevine that basically mirrors the intake tab, the case summary tab, lots of other information in that original case, and creates a whole nother case in a different module. And then all I have to do at that point is copy over just documents. And so what is happening is our intake specialist is having to go in and manually create and lead docket new cases and new leads every
Yeah.
time that happens. And so I just opened up like 18 new cases, and she has to go in and manually do that. Is there some sort of workaround or way that Lead Docket can talk to Filevine and not have to do that manually?
Oh, good question. All right, let's look into that a little bit. So if everybody understands the questions, that makes sense, Jennifer. So you're basically, this is a problem that we face sometimes with UIM cases or with other cases that a firm signs in Lead Docket, pushes to Filevine, and then inside Filevine, you duplicate it or you create another case. Then you have to bring them back into Lead Docket somehow, right? That's so the two systems are connected fully and there's no discrepancy in the data. So the first thing is kudos for trying to bring it back to Lead Docket, because a lot of firms are going to duplicate it in Filevine and forget about it. And then your case is matched, your case count doesn't match and all things, they're going to start breaking from there. So bringing back into Lead Docket is the best way to do it. There is a couple of, I'm trying to think of some ideas. In theory, I don't know, Jennifer, if it works for your processes specifically, but in theory, you would duplicate that lead in Lead Docket and then push it to Filevine again. Does that make sense? Instead of duplicating in Filevine with the automation that pulls all the things together, Lead Docket actually has a feature that you can duplicate a lead almost pretty easily.
Yeah.
So you would be able to, you would, in theory, you should duplicate it in Lead Docket first and then push it to Filevine a second time. And that sends it to the second project type that you have in Filevine, and the two things are connected in there. Would that work in your process? That would be the ideal scenario.
Yeah, it would. These were older cases that were open before Lead Docket, and so maybe not use the automations at this point.
Yeah, if you use the automation and duplicate it, the one reason why you want to use the automation is if you, let's say you push your Filevine and then you work on that case for a while, you add a bunch of new fields, you know, you added things into it, you want all of that duplicated. So if that's the case, then you want to use that automation inside your Filevine and duplicate it. But if it's something that's brand new case that you know is going to have two cases from it, and you can do it from Lead Docket, that will be your best bet. Now, one other thing that I would point out is if you guys are doing automations, I'm going to try to pull my screen and we'll look at this together. If you're dipping your toes into Workato and other types of automations that you might be using in your Filevine, is that how you're doing that automation?
I believe
Or-
so.
Yeah,
I didn't build it out, so.
it's either a Workato tool, or maybe you got some like Vine bots or some of those other automations that you can purchase. But the idea behind them is that you will be able to, I'm trying to think if there's a way that you can do an automation to automatically create a lead inside Lead Docket. And the issue that I can think of with that is Lead Docket has an API portal. I don't know, this is going to get pretty technical, but this is where you can do automations inside Lead Docket. These are all the actions you can do. And I am just, yeah, there is no way for you to automatically create a lead. You could possibly create an opportunity inside Lead Docket. So with an automation, here's the solution, right? There's a couple of solutions. One is duplicate it in Lead Docket and then push it to Filevine a second time. The second solution for that is if you build that automation to copy everything into and a different project. If you want to build that automation a little bit more, or create a second automation that says, post this lead into Lead Docket as an opportunity, you could do an automation that gets your Filevine project, the name, all the fields that are in there, map it into an opportunity inside your Lead Docket. You would show up right in here, and then you accept it and put it into your Lead Docket, and that's a lead in Lead Docket. That at least your intake doesn't have to manually copy things. Does that
Gotcha.
make sense?
Yes.
That's one solution there. I think if you do the opportunities route, the only thing that you still have to do is you have to come in and put the Filevine project ID from the project that is in Filevine. I don't know if you're able to push that on that automation, but
Okay. Yeah, I
that's,
think that would probably be the best solution because it takes a while for us to know whether or not, it's
yeah,
gonna turn into that separate case type after working on it for a while. So
yeah.
yeah,
So your best bet is kind of go back to whoever built that automation for you, and see if they can either build a second automation or just improve on that specific automation. And what they would do is they would use an integration webhook right from your Lead Docket. So you can create an integration here that's called, like, I don't know, Filevine automation. And in that integration, you can then push back the case into Lead Docket with an automation.
okay, great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I think that's my my best solution for you in there.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
All right, no problem. Thank you. Awesome. So this is great participation today. We got a room full of people and some good people asking questions. So that's awesome. So then, again, everybody feel free to chime in and jump into questions, and happy to kind of talk through your specific scenario. Otherwise, we're gonna get into the topic that we had for today. It's a really cool topic that we do a lot on, which is some advanced uses of Lead Docket. So we're gonna show you guys a little bit under the hood of some more advanced solutions that we have seen and built for different clients and different firms that go beyond just the native solutions that are inside Lead Docket. They build on some of the open API or some of the other Zapier integrations and things that you can do inside Lead Docket. It just shows you a little bit of the flexibility of the tool and how it's really has a open API, and it's really easy to access under the hood and change things in the system if you know a little bit of the technical side. This might not be something that you want to do yourself. It might be something that you may need somebody to come in, but it's good for you guys to know the capabilities and the possibilities that are out there, right? So that being said, I'm gonna go through some of these. Let me kind of go through all the topics, and then if this resonates with you and you say, I want to hear more about this one, please chime in here on the Q&A and say, I would love to hear more about this. But the first one that I have here on my list would be how to get better status updates from your referral partners. It's a pain that we always hear is you refer out cases. How do I get my referral partners to provide me an update on their cases? We've built a couple of different solutions. Now we're building a third one just right now to give the referral partners a better tool to provide you updates. Sometimes with like an email. So one of the solutions we built, I'll just get a little bit, is an email that goes out to them. But inside the email, there's the buttons they can click right on that email. They don't have to go to the dashboard. They don't have to click anything, select anything like that. It's just right into that email. It triggers an update into their Lead Docket and it goes back into Lead Docket. Another thing that we're building now is somewhat of a portal that allows them to do batch updates. So the referral firm can update a large list of leads all at once instead of going one at a time. So just better follow up on the referral firms. That's one topic we can kind of go dive a little bit more. The custom contact cards sent on text messages. So we've built a way here inside Lead Docket. That's actually a native solution to Lead Docket to send a contact card through text messages to the client. So the client can add your contact card to their phone. And then whenever you call them, the phone number that shows up for them is your firm's phone number, right? It doesn't have that unique or unknown number that they won't answer. So that improved significantly the answer rate for a few firms that we've built that before. That's one. Another thing that we've done here that's pretty cool is an SOL calculator. So I have at least one firm that when you come in here, you put the case type and you put the incident date and your information for the lead here, the birthday. We take in consideration the state, the birthday, and the incident date, and we automatically calculate an SOL based on a table that takes in consideration depending on your state, depending if you're a minor or if you're not a minor. And we run an automation using Zapier that then calculates that SOL date and puts it right in here into Lead Docket. That's another pretty cool automation that we've done. And then that SOL date is then used on several reports in different places. So that's an SOL automation. What else that is fun stuff we built? Oh, this one I'm a fan of is we have built for a couple of clients now, different iterations of this, a way to get customer satisfaction survey from their Filevine sent out through Lead Docket to the clients for them to fill out a quick form saying, how are we doing? How would you rate our services? The client fills that out, and then it gets pushed back into Lead Docket, but back into Filevine as well. So this has been super successful for firms who want to get better customer satisfaction surveys. So if you're trying to understand how are your leads, are your clients liking your services along the way, you can map phases from Filevine back into Lead Docket. So this uses phase mapping. So if you're not familiar with that, so you use a phase mapping tool and we can map. So this one that I've just done a dashboard on, they send, I think in 3 different stages. When the file hits a demand phase, they send out a quick survey. When the file hits a settlement or when it's archived, you send out a quick customer satisfaction survey and get some information from the client. The client replies, and then we created some logic that if the client replies, for example, saying, I'm not satisfied, it triggers a couple of different alarms, emails that goes to the leader on that team and it notifies them, hey, we have a possible unhappy client in here. So we leverage the Filevine and Lead Docket integration there to make that happen. So that's a cool one that we've done. Another thing that we have done that is cool to see, and it's actually a little bit simpler than people think, is when you push a case from Lead Docket into Filevine, we often talk about this as a one-time push, right? Is you push it to Filevine and it's a one-time push. It doesn't keep sending information later. And there's also, it's not a push on the other direction. It's not a two-way sync. So when you go into Filevine, you update something, that update does not go back to Lead Docket. Well, we built a workaround that sends data from Filevine back into Lead Docket, not using just a phase mapping. We use Zapier for that one. Filevine has a Zapier connector that it's now actually getting a little bit better and improved, so it gets more reliable. And then we've built a way to pull data from Filevine back into Lead Docket for certain data points. So that's a good one. Let's talk about, okay, conflict checker. I'm gonna leave Edie to do that one, Edie, because you're the expert in there. Do you want to talk about it? You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Jump in. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. So Edie's gonna talk about what we have developed an alternative way to check for possible conflicts. So the conflict checker you have in Filevine is great. Everybody asks about the conflict checker in Lead Docket, and that's what we kind of came up with, something that Edie's gonna demo right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you guys are familiar, and you've been working inside of Lead Docket for a while, you know that really the only way to search your contacts inside of Lead Docket is by going here to search Filevine contacts and doing like a quick search for your client. So you will look up, John Smith here and see their contact types, email, and phone number, but you're limited. That's all you can really see. So what we've built here in Vine Skills is a more in-depth conflict checker that will take you to that actual contact inside of Filevine. So we build basically a collection section like this, and we name it conflict checker. So what we do is we basically go to add new, and we've put instructions here for the team to follow. So basically we've added a search for conflict. So this is where you would search the person that you want to run a conflict with. So I'm going to do John Smith. And once I do that, you see that I have all of these show up and populate. So I'm going to choose the first John Smith that I see. Obviously, if I have several John Smith, I'm going to run multiple conflict checks on all of my John Smith. So the first one, I'm going to go ahead and click it. And what this is going to prompt you to do is when you click this arrow here, it's going to take you to your Filevine project, and it's going to take you to that person's contact card inside of Filevine. Now here, you can look up the associated project. So which project that contact card is associated with, as well as the contact type and more in-depth detail about this person. Now, this is our Vine Skills environment. So this is not a firm's data, but this is how it will look on your end. So, once we run a conflict check on John Smith, we can go back to our Lead Docket. And you see, I can put no conflict check. And we can go ahead and save. So now if I need to run another conflict on the, second John Smith that we have in file or inside of Filevine, you would just click, the other one, go inside of Filevine, search it up, look what projects are associated with it, and basically do your conflict that way. So it's a little bit more, it gives you more accessibility to your Filevine, to your contact cards to see exactly which project it's associated with, instead of having the very limited version of just, pulling up a contact here and seeing what their email and phone number, because that's really all the information that would give you.
That's
Any
awesome.
questions in regards to that?
Yeah, we'll let people ask. I'll continue on a couple of topics, but this is pretty cool. And I think it's a way also to leave a record of what
Right,
you think
absolutely.
gets done, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and then add additional, for your management team to go in and check all the conflict that you ran. You can see all the multiple, people that you ran a conflict check on. So it's super beneficial, definitely, to just do a little bit more in depth of a conflict check inside of Lead Docket.
Yeah. That's awesome. Thank you for that, Edie.
Yeah, of course.
I'll keep going. I know we're kind of we are already a few minutes. We got a few minutes more. I have a couple more topics here on my list. And then if nobody else, we kind of answered a few questions, but if nobody else has questions, we'll kind of wrap it up. Another interesting thing we've done, and I would love to hear from you guys if anybody has any opinion on this uses, on this kind of advanced uses of Lead Docket, if anything resonates, if anything seems like, yeah, this is something that I would also like to see, or I would, this is a capability that I would love to have, then that gives also some kind of clues into product enhancements that we can offer. And we're constantly talking to Lead Docket about improvements and whatnot, and what are they doing to improve things in Lead Docket. So it's, if you have an opinion about something that you want to see, definitely voice it, so we can know about it and we can bring that up. All right, I want to bring a couple more of advanced uses of Lead Docket. Let me share my screen. So one of them is integrating Slack with Lead Docket. We have done it in a couple of different ways, and it's been pretty interesting, the adoption of Slack recently. We are seeing more and more firms adopting Slack as a communication tool, not only as an internal tool, but as an external tool. So I know we built something recently that's a pretty successful way to refer cases out via Slack. So you have a Slack channel with your, partner firms, and you can post a case in there for them to accept or not. So it's a very interesting, quick way to refer cases out and get firms to all chime in and accept it or not right away, especially for, those PI cases that have a little bit more of a time urgency to them. But we've seen some interesting adoption of Slack recently, so it's a really cool use. I do have to mention, like, reporting is something that we've talked about it a couple of times in our previous webinars. Maybe, I don't know if we did it on the last few ones, but reporting in Lead Docket is something that we've spent a lot of time. Advanced Skills, me particularly, I like that area a lot. So just understanding how to provide better data insights to our clients is something that we always try to do. One of the ways is by doing this type of reports in here in Lead Docket and learning how to read them better. But one other thing that we have built, and we kind of hacked a little bit, is you build comprehensive report outside of Lead Docket, right? So it's worth mentioning the ability to pull reports that are in a separate dashboard. This is something that we've built for, we've built it for a few clients now. There are several firms now. We are selling this a lot to better reporting for firms. But I think it's just worth mentioning it. It's not supposed to be selling this in any way. It's worth mentioning that this exists, and it's a way to advance the reports that you get from your Lead Docket. So it's worth mentioning in here, and we can leave a link to know more if you guys are interested. Derek has a good question. Opinions on Looker Studio versus Domo. Very good question, Derek. So as you can see here on my screen, we use Looker Studio as the platform for this dashboard. Domo is a separate platform. Comparison between Domo and Looker Studio is a complex topic to talk about. Domo is a more robust platform for reporting. It's also a lot more expensive than it is Looker Studio. So if you get a Domo price, you would know what I'm talking about. It can be prohibitive for certain firms in different sizes on the Domo side. Domo has some pretty cool capabilities inside it. Looker Studio, what we use is not just Looker Studio, is the whole Google Cloud. So Derek, in my opinion, the Google Cloud platform is a lot more affordable. And if you leverage the other components of it, you get the same capabilities that you have in Domo inside Looker. Now, as one thing that's worth mentioning about Domo is that if you want to get good reporting from your Filevine, then Domo is your best bet in the sense of you can get your data from Filevine put directly into an S3 bucket into Periscope 2.0. So if you're not familiar with the Periscope tool, Periscope is a tool that Filevine sells, which is a reporting tool that uses Domo. Periscope is the Filevine branding name of Domo platform that puts your Filevine data in it. So to answer your question, Derek, I don't know if this actually answers your question, but I think as a standalone tool, if you're just looking at, I'm gonna do my own reporting, should I pick Domo? Should I pick Google? It's a profound debate. Personally, I like the Google platform better. I think it's easier and much more affordable and scalable in a sense. But Domo is also a great platform. And then if you want to put your Filevine data, then definitely Domo is a great solution for you there. We have a lot of clients that have Domo, by the way. So including clients that got our dashboard and Lead Docket and Domo and put them together, which is also another possibility, Derek. So the ultimate level of reporting for your Lead Docket and your Filevine is Domo and Looker Studio, right? It's Domo for your Filevine report, this report for your Lead Docket report, and they can actually be combined and merged into your single login. So you can put them all together into your Domo report. You can see all this inside. That's the ultimate level, right? Of reporting. So something to consider here. We've done a lot. This is a tool that we kind of perfected along the last year or and a half. So this has 1,000 hours of work and improvements to get to this level of insights in here. One thing that's worth mentioning is inside Domo, Derek, a lot of firms come to us because they have Domo, and Domo gives you Filevine data, but it doesn't give you a lot of Lead Docket data. It gives you some Lead Docket data. If you want to go into a more advanced reporting inside Lead Docket, then you need a better connection from there. So this report here uses an API connection versus a report-based connection. And that allows you to do a lot more data visualization in here. So that's worth mentioning. This exists. On my list of advanced uses, we talked about better referrals. We talked about the answer rate being improved with contact cards. We talked about calculating SOLs automatically. We talked about the customer satisfaction survey, which is one of my favorite ones in here, sending customer satisfaction surveys. We talked about pushing data from Filevine back into Lead Docket. We talked about the conflict checker. We talked about connecting Lead Docket with Slack. And we also talked about some advanced reporting solutions. So I know there's a lot to cover here. If nobody has any other questions, I think we kind of cover several different things in here. Well, yeah, Jennifer is asking if we can send out the recording of this meeting. Yeah, absolutely, Jennifer. I think you get, if you subscribed to the meeting or to the Lead Docket webinar, which I'm happy to show you where to do that. If you subscribed to that webinar, you will be able to get this recording automatically. If not, we can send you, oh, here's even past recorded sessions. So if you go in here, you're going to see the past sessions that we've done. And you should get also a recording of this on your email. Okay. I definitely recommend looking at this website, by the way. So for anybody who wants to kind of see a little bit more here, our Lead Docket website, you got a lot of in this learning, tab on our website, you'll see a lot of helpful content. So you can sign up for the free help here, and that's what's gonna give you the recording. But just this Filevine training videos, you can click here, click on Lead Docket, or even in Filevine, and there's a lot in here that you can see. And there's some pretty interesting resources for you guys to look at here. Okay. The last thing that I would mention is we have a Lead Docket LinkedIn group, which is pretty cool. So it's, I've had a few people ask me questions and I'm too busy to answer, or I'm like, I can't get onto my computer. We have a Lead Docket group in LinkedIn where people can really chime in and ask questions, and everybody jumps in and answers pretty quickly. So it's a really good place for you guys to send your Lead Docket questions, is in that Lead Docket group. I think if you're going to LinkedIn and search for Lead Docket, you should be able to find it. And we can always send you a link to it as well. All right, I will wrap this up. If we have no more questions, we covered a lot today and we had some really good questions. So thank you guys for sharing your thoughts. We'll see you again in the next one. We normally do this once a month, the first Wednesday of the month. So we'll see you on the first Wednesday of March. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Thank you, Edie.
Thank you. Sorry, I was coughing. Thank you.
All right.
Bye,
Bye-bye,
everyone.
everybody.